Alex, stop playing. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, Low Sun Pat Sports and Reflections. I'm here to talk about last night's game between the Golden State Warriors and Toronto Raptors. It was a good game. The Raptors were able to win 118-109 behind Spicy Peas, 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. PASCAL played a great game. He was clearly the star of stars last night, and he showed last night that he is the most improved player in the NBA. The guy was spectacular on defense and offense. He played energetic. He played fast. He played strong. He only missed 3 shots throughout the game. He was 14 of 17 from the field. He was just dominant. Like, he outplayed Kawhi. He outplayed Kerby. He outplayed everybody. Like, the dude really stood out. Like, he showed that it's a ton of upside to him. And he showed that he could potentially be a superstar in the making. And, I think last night was a good sign for the Raptors because PASCAL didn't have a game like that in a while. And, if I'm Kawhi Leonard, I'm kind of talking to myself and saying, man, that dude got some game. Like maybe I do want to stay and play for the Raptors. This team seems like it has a lot of upside. But before I get back to PASCAL's great game, I'd like to talk about the matchup between Kerby and Kaale. I feel like this matchup is a pivotal matchup going forward, and I feel like Larry was going to be able to play Kerby to a standstill. I'll be the first one to admit I was pretty much wrong about that, at least from an offensive standpoint. Kerby had 34 points compared to Kyle 7. So Kerby clearly dominated the matchup scoring. But one thing I like about Kyle Lowry is that he was able to lead his team to a victory. Although he only had 7 points and he only shot 2 of 9, he did have 9 assists, he did have 6 rebounds, and he did draw 3 key offensive fouls. So I feel like as long as Larry could continue to be a great playmaker, as long as he continue to play strong on defense, and as long as his confidence stays intact, I do feel like the Raptors have a great chance to stay in this series and potentially become champions for the first time in their history. So, one thing I have to say is good for the Raptors is that they won without Kyle Lowry having a good shooting game. So that's something to be proud of and something to look forward to. Because, one could think, hey, maybe if he shoot well, then maybe, we might blow them out like we did on December 12th. Who knows, anything could happen. So I do feel like the Raptors are matching up well with them. And game one, they should come excited from that. They should feel some good spirit inside of them that we won game one against the Warriors. We gave them their first game one loss since they lost in 2016 to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. Like the Raptors showed a lot. Like they showed that they're a tough team, especially at home. Also, another matchup I like to talk about is Kawhi and Klay. Although they didn't match up with each other throughout the game, I think I like to lump them together because they both are two great two-way players. Klay Thompson defense is underrated, but he did manage to make the second team with Kawhi Leonard this season. So I believe that the league is really starting to notice that Klay is a great defender. And last night he played great defense as well. Like he played good help defense on Kawhi and good help defense on Kyle Lowry when he's able to. And they was able to keep Kawhi Leonard to 5 of 14 from the field. He didn't have a good game shooting. Kawhi looked gassed out there. A big part of that was a big part of Kawhi being gassed was the defense that they played on him. Steve Kerr really threw 1, 2, 3 guys at him all throughout the game. Like throughout the game, he saw Iggy, Livingston, Green, Klay. Like he saw different guys at him throughout the game. Different guys who stick him, in various ways. And I think Kawhi, I felt like he adjusted to it pretty well, but I did feel like they kind of bought him last night. He looked at gas last night, so I do feel like Nick Nurse has to make a key adjustment. I don't feel like the ball should be in Kawhi's hands as much as they had it in his hands in game one. I'm not saying don't get Kawhi Leonard the ball. He's the best player on the Raptors by far. He's the best player in the series to me, honestly. Him and KD a toss-up, but KD is not playing right now, so I feel like, Kawhi is the best player in the series. But what I like to see Nick Nurse do is, get Kawhi some post-up, give him some more back screen, some more, back screen action, because just giving him the ball from the perimeter is not really gonna help the offense flow. Because they trap as soon as he put that ball on the ground, and they coming quick and they long. They got good long defenders like Livingston, and Iguodala and Green. Like, they all can stay with him, and they all play well against him, you know. And how can I, you know, I can't forget about Clay. You know, Clay is right there with him, challenging his shots and everything. So I do feel like if the Raptors are going to continue to have success in this series, they have to find a way to make the Warriors pay for doubling, you know, Kawhi and tripling Kawhi, you know. But another point I like to make about last night was the others, which I'm trying to say is the role players. I feel like the reason why the Raptors were able to win was the 20 points from Marc Gasol, the 11 from Danny Green, who finally woke up from the dead and was able to connect on three-pointers, and the 15 for Fred VanVleet. VanVleet played great. He's been playing great since Game 4 against the Milwaukee Bucks. Ever since his son was born, like, VanVleet has been playing tremendous. So I believe if the others from the Raptors continue to play great and Kaale step up his play and Kawhi doesn't shoot 5 for 14 every game in the series, oh yeah, I do believe Toronto may be hoisting that trophy, you know, by Game 6 or even Game 7, you know, because they have home court advantage. And I know the Warriors are a star-studded team, but home court does mean a lot, you know, especially their crowd. It's amazing. Like, their fans outside and inside just it's electric in the arena. You saw it last night on full display. But like I said, the key player from last night was PASCAL Siakam. Like, the guy had 32, 8, and 5. He outplayed the Warriors front court. He outplayed Draymond. He outplayed Kevon Looney and even Boogie Cousins, who was in the game for a few minutes and looked absolutely atrocious. Like, no offense to Boogie, he's a great player, but coming back from the injury, I believe he's a big hindrance to the Warriors. Then he could help them in any way. So I feel like Kirk should just sit him out, because I don't feel like he's going to work his way back into the lineup. It's just the intensity of the playoffs right now is just too immense for him to actually have an impact. At least that's how I feel. But back to my point about Siakam. Siakam was amazing. He outplayed Draymond. You know, Draymond did have a triple-double with 10, 10, and 10, but he didn't match Siakam's energy. You know, he tried to, not to say Draymond didn't come with effort, but Siakam just balled out throughout the whole game. Like, the dude was amazing. Spin moves, jump shots, you know, turnaround jump shots, you know, these fancy layups he was doing, the dunk he did. Like, the guy was absolutely amazing. Like, it was good to see PASCAL just take off like that. Like, you see the superstar potential in him. Like, you saw it on full display last night. Like, the dude looked exceptional. He looked like he could be a running mate with Kawhi Leonard in the future. Like, so if I'm not a Warriors fan, but if I'm a Raptors fan, I'm excited about the future. Like, I see this dude, PASCAL, emerging. We still have Kawhi, and if we win the finals, we may keep Kawhi. You know, so I think, you know, they have a lot to be proud of from Game 1. Like I said, Kawhi didn't have his greatest game. Kaale didn't have his greatest game. You know, so it's a lot to look forward to. Game 2 is going to be a sight to see. Once again, Kevin Durant is not playing, so the Raptors have a legit chance to go 2-0 in the series. And although it's not going to be easy, I believe they can do it. I do believe they can do it. And it'll be a sight to see the Warriors down 2-0. It's something we haven't seen in their 5 years with each other. We haven't seen them down 2-0 in any series. We haven't. Well, let me retract that. We saw them down 3-1. So so let me not speak too fast. But it'll be nice to see them down 2-0 without having home court at that. You know, so it's something to keep an eye on. And who knows? Who knows what can happen? Maybe that team from Toronto that used to be called LeBronto, you know, maybe they'll be hosting the NBA trophy by the time this series is over with. We just have to wait and see. You know, like I said, great Game 1 was an outstanding performance from PASCAL. It was a good performance from the Raptors just as a collective. Steph Curry came to play. You know, he had his 34. Clay had 21. You know, Draymond had his triple-double. The rest of the Warriors do have to step up if they want this series to go in their favor. You know, the KD aspect is like the biggest what if in this whole scenario, of course, because he's a superstar. You know, he's one of the top 3 players in the NBA. You almost hope he don't come back just from a fan perspective, because a lot of us was making a lot of noise about how better the Warriors look without him. I wanna know if, would you guys share that same sentiment if they lose this series? Would y'all still be saying that, or do y'all just say that because y'all just really want KD to lead the Warriors? You know, so it's a lot. It's a lot the series it's a lot that the series has in store for us, and Game 2 is going to show a lot. Because if the Warriors win, then it'd be 1-1, and I think they pretty much are going to, take the series. But if the Raptors win, I do think it's hope. I do think it's hope. I do think they'll be able to win this series in 6 or 7 games. And like I said, just be on the lookout, for the rest of the series, and be on the lookout for my preview of Game 2 coming soon. See you.